I was kind of up for a challenge at the time, so we ended up using the FPGA to join it all together. So the features on this is we can squelch noisy analog signals. That's done in DSP. We can basically connect any input to any output, or any combination of inputs to any combination of outputs. And this comes in when we want to do duplex operation through KM, where we say we've got 2 users. Each user's audio gets muxed to one goes to the left channel, one goes to the right channel, and then on the user's receiver, they would select the opposite channel to theirs. So when you're operating on KM, you only hear the other person's audio, not your own. That's okay for 2 users. Once we get above that, we're still looking into how to cover that one, but lots of possibilities there. And we have the possibility for repeater linking and streams. Apologies there. Repeater linking and streams to mute the input stream from getting repeated out on the output stream. So hopefully no feedback. Okay, so that's what it looks like inside. At the top there, we have 3 stereo digital analog converters. We've got the FPGA dev board in the middle, which hasn't changed at all. Most of the stuff's off the shelf in here, apart from the 2 breakout boards for the analog to digital converters over here. So there's 6 stereo analog to digital converters, which bring the audio in or from the back. And yeah, all the mixing gets done in code inside the FPGA. There's a VU meter on the front and a PA, a little headphone PA on the side there for the sysop. So video, we've gone to HD now, so HDMI video switch. Took a little bit of time trying to source something that would do what we wanted to do. This one gives us 9 inputs, which most of the ones out there seem to give 4, maybe 8 at times, and are quite limited to what you can actually do with them. So this one allows us to set any input to any output segment on the screen. So if it's a 4-way screen, we can specify which picture goes where and which pictures are displayed or not displayed. One of the benefits of that is we can hide the analog noisy signal coming in. We can hide that one off the screen, so it gives us more video bandwidth overall. We don't want to be encoding noise on the screen. So that's one of the good features in there. We're using at the moment, it's a little bit of a bodge on the code. Apologies there. A little bit of bodge on the code. We're actually using the second HDMI port of the RIDE at the moment to display an EasyCap input. So we're kind of using the RIDE for multi-purpose. Analog composite to HDMI on converters that you can get from, say, eBay and various other places don't really do a good job on weak signals. So we're using the EasyCap input, which seems to do a good job for that. The encoder is the I don't know we don't really know what brand this thing is, but there's a few names mentioned, but it's just the H.264.265 encoder box. HDMI in, and we can control this through the network with a few scripts in Python and things from the Pi, so we can kind of control all the streaming and various other things on there remotely, which has been quite useful. That all came about from the Pluto control with that. So, development's come along quite a bit with that. So yeah, on transmit, we're still using the MK808 with the PVR and DigiLite on 3.4 gigs. This has been running for about 6 years now, I think, which is very surprising. We didn't expect that MK808 to last that long. Yeah, this is upgrading to a Pluto with the encoder. The Pluto's got a Ethernet adapter on, so we can connect through the router from the encoder box. So the video and audio stream from the encoder comes across the network into the Pluto. I don't put too much detail in about the transmit side here, really, because at the moment it's just on 23 centimeters. Hopefully in the future we'll build up a mixer unit so we can convert from 23 SEMs up to 13 SEMs and 9 SEMs and 10 gigs, and basically use the same RF for all the outputs that we're using. We don't know how long a Pluto is going to last on 24/7. I don't know whether anyone's actually tried that yet. We've been running them quite a long time and they seem reliable so far. And the last kind of main thing that we've added is something to monitor all the sequencing, controlling of PAs and switching things on and off. So yeah, we needed a new way of controlling everything rather than just a relay. So we wanted to have a bit of extra monitoring, so we monitor temperature and forward reverse power to antenna and things like that. So this is what we came up with, completely custom design, using the Arduino just because it's nice and easy to use. We can daisy chain quite a few of these around the repeater for the different amps. We are in different locations. We can switch PAs on, the PAs on and off. We can monitor temperatures. We can monitor power supply voltage, or if the PA's got a forward and reverse power, we can use that. So that's for monitoring. There's a little screenshot of the kind of web config of the repeater. On the left here, shows input ports, output ports. The bottom here is input ports, so we can see we've got analog sync detector and then a few inputs on just general GPIO pins. We can give them names and things, sync detector, and tell it which audio channel on the mixer we're going to be using. Just general GPIO inputs there. We can give them basically on the fly, detector, and tell it which audio channel on the mixer we're going to be using. Just general GPIO inputs there. We can give them basically on the fly, detector, and tell it which audio channel logic. So basically, we can disable GPIO inputs there. We can give them basically on the fly, detector, and tell it which audio channel logic. Control for the transmitters. Telling it time period, and then also time period, and kind of like logic control for the transmitters, telling it time period, and then also time period, and kind of like logic control for the transmitters, telling it time period, and time period, and kind of logic control for the transmitters, telling it time period, and time period, and kind of logic control for the transmitters, telling it time period, new mixer, video mixer, and then the audio mixer at the bottom there, and the router. So yeah, quite a rapid run through of everything there. So yeah, you can watch my live development on the BATC stream, and also thanks to BATC for the bursary funding for some of the equipment.
That's brilliant, Rob. That's a really good run through, and it's great to see such innovative development, even FPGAs there. That's well beyond anything anybody else is doing. And good to hear the old MK8 and PVR and Digilight still going. I've still got one of those that works as well.
Yeah.
So no, really good run through. And Rob, of course, is another one of our testers who contributes and tests all the stuff we do. So thanks very much for that, Rob.
No problem.
You mentioned bursaries, and that will bring us on to our next talk, which is from Noel, BATC Secretary, talking about bursaries after a short pause. Thanks, Rob. All the best.
Thanks.
So the next thing on the agenda is Noel to update us on the BATC bursary scheme. This is a really important scheme that provides seed corn funding for new repeaters, new projects, and capital funding. Over to you, Noel.
Yes, hi Dave, and welcome to Mission Control. Now this could get tricky because I'm actually doing all the control, and I've now got to share my own screen, which is I think going to be, I should be able to do it. There's lots of things that make, yeah, I thought that might happen. I need to move Zoom over here. Hang on. There's lots of things that make the BATC unique, and one of them is the fact that we're not really after your money. We are in the luxury position that we're asking you to spend the money, and how we do that is through the BATC bursary fund. And what we say to people is, we want to spend the club's money to support ATV or projects which will benefit the ATV community. And that can be either in a local area, nationally or internationally. And over the last 2 years, it's been running for 2 years. We announced it at CAT 18, and it's been running for the last 2 years. And we've had 14 applications approved. And actually, we did decline one, but we'll come on and talk about that in a minute. And through the fund, we've allocated more than £3,700 to projects. And so, you know, we're unique in that respect that we want to give you the club's money. And the types of projects that we've funded to date, I'll just run through each one of them so you can see the types of things we're interested in supporting. And so the very first one you've seen in action this morning, and everybody used it. I think it was probably the best £500 that BATC ever spent, which was to provide the narrowband and wideband, the narrowband SDR and the wideband spectrum monitor facilities down at Goonhilly. And we did that because we kind of foresaw that, particularly on the TV, without some form of spectrum monitor for everybody to look at, it was going to be difficult for people to know what channel to transmit on. And so we used that. That was probably the first application we put into the fund, and we used that money to provide the equipment down at Goonhilly. Second one was when Heather was developing the long-min receiver core code, which you've heard about this morning, which goes into RIDE and the Portsdown receivers. She needed a signal source, so we provided a filter modulator board. And the third one was for the regional CAT meetings that we held in 2019. We offered to pay any premises hire that people had, and the Bristol Regional CAT we granted £200 towards that. And the fourth one, GB4HAM, which is run up in the Sheffield area, is a mobile demonstration unit for amateur radio generally, and we provided some equipment towards that demo. The next three, we did actually purchase a Hyde's OFDM equipment for evaluation and loan equipment, and I have to say we haven't made the most of this acquisition. But if anybody is interested in borrowing this equipment, please contact the committee, and we can lend it to you. But in return, we would expect a CQTV article or a full review of it. There's been a number of repeater applications, which you'll see, and we did in fact improve the grant for GB3XY in Hull. That grant has not yet been spent. Another grant which wasn't spent, unfortunately, was we did actually look at the possibility of providing a receiver and transmitter for Oscar 100 to be used at DP0 VGN down in Antarctica. Unfortunately, it did get approved, but unfortunately, due to technical complications around the internet bandwidth and monitoring the uplink, it didn't get included. But the equipment that is down there that was used on the narrowband segment has got the capability to add DATV into it. So we may do that at some point in the future. As I said, we've had a number of repeaters apply. GB3CT, GB3GG, GB3KM, which Rob has just talked about. Here's an interesting one, and we'd encourage more of you to do this. Basingstoke Makerspace are putting up a dish, and one of the things they were interested in was monitoring the TV signals on QO100, and we provided a mini tuner for them. And the other mini tuner that was provided was to Dwingelo, the 25-meter dish in Holland, and that enabled them to receive myself and Rob during a recent contest in Holland. The other applications have been, again, for a repeater, and this is the one we did decline, which was GB3NQ. The original application was to buy some second-hand MPEG-2 equipment, which we decided really we weren't prepared to support, but we encouraged the group to reapply for a Portsdown-based transmit system, and we offered any help at all to get that going. And the final one, more recently, has been for the Ride set-top box team. We provided a couple of £100 worth of support through providing tuners and PCBs and Raspberry Pi 4s to Tim and other members of the team. And we did, in fact, receive an application last night, which isn't on the slide, from GB3 FY. No, not FY. The one that Tim runs up in Lancashire for a digital upgrade. So lots of applications, and hopefully that's inspired one or two of you looking at that to think about how you could use the money. GB3FT, David just told me. GB3FT applied last night for funding. So how do you apply? Well, you need a good idea, and it's got to be support the future of amateur television. It's got to do something like that.